Hi, so it's the beginning of May and we're in the home stretch of spring semester, and I want to thank each of you. You've each done such a tremendous job to help our students succeed during these very challenging times. And I want to thank you for participating, those who have participated in the Q&A forums, the faculty, staff, and student forums that have taken place over the last few weeks and will continue to take place in the future. I've been able to see and hear about your great accomplishments, also hear about the challenges that you faced and you continue to face, and those have been very helpful. So we're getting ready to wrap up spring now, and we're moving right into the summer semester. So as we start, we see that the demand and the interest in Wake Tech is up, something that we'll expect for the future. Our numbers are up, and that's a good thing. That says that our community needs us at this time, and they know we're here for them. As I mentioned in my email last week, our coronavirus task force is actively preparing now for how would we gradually phased in reopen. In some ways that begins on May 11th as we start to bring back and open up our Perry Health Science campus for students who need the labs to finish their courses. And then a week following that, opening some of our technical areas, our shops, and those programs for students who need those areas to move forward. We'll do so continuing to prioritize the health and safety of everyone. We'll be doing temperature checks as students and faculty come in, practicing social distancing, cleaning thoroughly during the day and at night to make sure that safety and health is of utmost priority. And as we move forward in the summer, we'll look to see if we can bring back some other areas as well in a similar kind of format, but expect that most of the summer will continue and most of the things we're doing in a remote format. I originally had hoped when we postponed graduation, now a little over a month ago, that by the end of July 25th, we'd be able to have an in-person graduation, but clearly that's probably not a good idea right now. So we're actively preparing for what will be a virtual graduation, as well as opportunities for those students who want to march at a later time in a future graduation to be able to do that. As for the fall, we're still awaiting further guidance and information that we need, but we are actively planning for various scenarios for a broader form of reopening. But it will be a fall, I think, that's different than any other previous semesters we've had. I think it'll be a fall where we're still very much online focused, but perhaps with more hybrid opportunities, ways in which students can access our campuses in more ways than they're able to now, but ways in which we limit capacities in classrooms and on our campuses. And we'll also look to ways to limit face-to-face meetings and activities I anticipate during that time frame, but we'll continue to monitor vigilantly where we are in this process from a health and safety perspective and continue to make sure that health and safety is our utmost priority as we move forward in any further reopening phases. At the same time, we're having to tighten our belt. We've been doing that already, but also now at the directive of our system office and the Office of State Budget and Management, as I outlined in my email last week. Essentially what that means is we're having to restrict all purchases except for those that are directly related to classroom instruction, restrict hires, new hiring, except for those related to new faculty hires for teaching, as well as restricting all forms of any types of salary increases, bonuses, or travel. Now, that's going to create some challenges for us, I know, moving forward, and it sounds daunting, but we've been through this before. Maybe not at the same level, but we've been through these types of circumstances previously. Back in 2008, 2009, we saw similar circumstances when we faced the Great Recession. In almost every case, whenever there's tough economic times, people turn to their community colleges, and they did back then. I used to say in those times that the road to recovery in North Carolina ran right through the middle of North Carolina's community colleges. I fully expect that to be the case this time for all of our community colleges in the state, but particularly for Wake Tech. Now what that means is that people have expectations for us and what our role will be, how important our role will be as we move forward into the economic recovery stage of this crisis. And what that also means is I think leaders are keenly aware of how important we'll be and the need for us to remain whole moving forward, particularly in our most vital asset, which is you, which are all our people who are going to be badly needed, even more so I think as we get to the next phase of what this crisis is about, and that's going to be economic recovery. In that regard, I think that we have not seen any notion of reductions in personnel, any conversations about furloughs yet, which is good news because the times will be challenging, but I think there's also a great recognition of how vital our roles are in moving forward in recovery. So as we move forward, we'll continue to place the highest priority on health and safety. We'll be prudent, but we'll move forward in terms of how we open back up for the people who need us and for our campuses to open in a phased, gradual, healthy way. And we'll also be prudent with our expenditures because we'll know that we need to maintain our core assets, our people, as we move to the other side and wait for what we anticipate to be a great demand. It'll be a different future than perhaps we were anticipating 6 months ago, but I think it's a future that is even more important for us dealing with challenges. And that's something that Wake Tech has certainly proven in the last few months, is that we are nimble, we're flexible, and we are committed to our communities and committed first and foremost to our students. I want to thank you again for all that you've done in the past few months. I want to thank you for your patience, your resilience, your kindness and your grace, because that's going to be needed even more as we go forward. It's my commitment to you that we'll continue to make decisions that we think are in the best interest of our overall Wake Tech community, our support for our broader community, a commitment towards being safe and healthy, but a commitment to supporting the community recovery that's going to be needed. So you stay tuned. We'll keep the information coming through videos, through emails, in every which way possible. But just know how much we appreciate you and thank you for all you're doing for our students and for our community at this time.